All right, ready to roll over here as we welcome in Saba, Mordechai Sultan, Eddie Chazan, Irving Fishbaum, the cook over here in the Crazy Kitchen, Baruch Ian, Ruvain Pollack, Shlomo Wilhelm, Nachman Chapler, Menachem Yamansky, Michal, Dr. Guy, Avram Schenkman, Richard Rosenzweig, Moshe Lehman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, and Shelley Zeitlin. We welcome over here Berish Gesselman, Gedalia Engel, Reb Kramer, Moshe Jackman, Reb Goldstein, and David Helfgott on Kol HaLashon. We are learning tonight with the tefillah that all children that are trying to get into yeshiva should get it in quickly, easily, without any problems. And we learn L'Refuah Shalema for Aaron Swade, who is actually, like Ruvain on Sunday, goes to a shir that he's going to longer than mine. So Aaron has a shir that he's going to many, many years on Navi from Rabbi Palikov. So, of course, he's in the hospital, but he's watching that shir instead of our shir. He'll catch our shir later. A shout out to him, and he is getting the procedure tomorrow, the shocking of the heart, and they're worried a little bit about a blood clot, so we have him in mind. Aaron Ben Sora, you should have a Refuah Shalema, B'Seich Shachel Yisrael, and Irving Fishbaum has a yahrzeit for a Zayda. Yaakov Ben Menachem, the Neshama should have an aliyah. He should be a male tziyosher for his family, for all of us and all of Klal Yisrael. It's good to see that Eddie Chazan has his car not upside down, but right side up. It's good. I was a little worried about you, Eddie. Eddie is pretty much stationary tonight. He's not in a helicopter. We are holding by Gidol Bar Eloi, which is 6 lines from the top of Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. 6 lines from the top. I made a bracha already. Of Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. Gidol Bar Eloi, Shoder get Lagita L'Debiseyu. Sent to get to his wife. Ozel Shlicha, he sent to get with Marshall. Ozel Shlicha, so Marshall went, Ashkecha Dava Yosva V'Novla. He saw her that she was sitting and she was knitting. She didn't want to accept it from Marshall. Amala, Marshall said to her, Gitech, I have your get for you. Amra Lei, she said, I don't want it. Zilhashta, go away now. Mia, go away now. V'tolamach, come back tomorrow. So now Marshall didn't know what to do. I mean, Chatzkel told Marshall to give it to her forthwith. And she said, I don't want it now, come back tomorrow. Azal the Gabe, V'amalei. So Marshall reported back to Chatzkel. Pasach v'amar, Chatzkel said, Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv. Blessed Hashem, who is good and does good. In other words, he was happy that she wasn't hot to trot to accept the get. Now the shaila is, can he give the get tomorrow? Or did his bracha of HaTov HaMeitiv, was that tantamount to canceling the get? So, Abaya says, Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv, very nice, but v'loi batal gita. He wasn't mevatel to get. It's the position of Abaya, who, this is one of the Yal Kagams that we paskin like Abaya. And it's a position of Abaya that we don't cancel a get from a deduction. Oh, since he said, Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv, he doesn't want to get. Now, Abaya doesn't hold that way. While Rav Amar Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv, he said, blessed is the Hashem who is good and does good, ubatal gita, and therefore he canceled the get. So Marshall can't give it to her tomorrow. B'mai kamiflagi, what are they arguing? Begilui daita begita kamiflagi. If he shows his inclination by a get. Is that enough? Can we make deductions? Can we be a Sherlock Holmes? The Abaya says, Gilui Daita Begita, showing an inclination by a get, La Milzi. You want to be Mavatal the get, you got to say, I'm Mavatal the get. You can't leave it up to a deduction. V'Rava Sava Gilui Daita Begita Milzi. Yeah, you can. And Rava says, Minan Minala. Where do I see that a get is cancelled by mere deduction? The Rav Sheshis Ashkele Gita Lahu Gavra Bal Karche. Rav Sheshis coerced Chatzkel to give a get against his will. Now, subsequent to the writing of the get, before it was delivered to her, V'amaluhu l'sadeh, he said to witnesses, Hachi amaluhu l'chu Rav Sheshis, so did Rav Sheshis say to you, live till Gita, let the get be cancelled. Now, Rav Sheshis never said no such thing. But the fact that the husband said it made it imply that he doesn't want it. The Atzurche Rav Sheshis Gita Achrina. Rav Sheshis necessitated another get. So Rava said, you see that we go basar deduction. Because over here, he didn't say that he was canceling the get, but because he made up this story, that shows that he doesn't want the get. So Rav Sheshis needed another get. Now Abaya says that's not a deduction. V'abayu atu Rav Sheshis mevatel gita de incheave. How could Rav Sheshis be mevatel somebody else's get? Another person can't be mevatel the husband's get. Il butler. Rather, therefore, he must have meant I am being mevatel the get. So that's not a deduction. That's straight out. I said, then why didn't he say he was doing it? Why did he say Rav Sheshis was doing it? And now which he said Rav Sheshis is because he was afraid of when they forced him to write the get. Rav Sheshis had, strong men. And he was afraid, Mishum Dafnoi, because of the strong men of Rav Sheshis. Amar Abaya. Where do I know that Gili Das beget is not enough? How do I know it? The Rav Yirmiyah Beira, Ashkele Gita, forced the get, L'chasnei de Rav Yirmiyah Beira, from the son-in-law of Rav Yirmiyah of Beira. Ubatle, and the son-in-law canceled it. Tana Ashkele, he coerced him again. Ubatle, and he canceled it again. Hader Tana Ashkele al Karche, he then repeated and coerced him. Va'amalu l'sadeh, and this time Rabbi Yehuda told the witnesses, Osivu keri bu'unaychu, put wax in your ears, or gourd slivers. I think they learn it's gourd slivers, gourd pieces. Put gourd pieces in your ears. Yeah, that's what Rashi says. Dakshel deluin. Put gourd pieces in your ears, like earplugs, v'ksuvale, and write it. Now, but wait a second. That's good if an implication doesn't help. But v'isal kedaita gilui daita begita milsei, that a mere deduction is enough to cancel a get. What does it help to see the slivers of pumpkin? The mice is Rabbi Yirmiyah Beira is running after them. He sees that they're running after him. Doesn't that mean that he sees that they're running after him to cancel the get? And Rava says no, as we welcome in Mel Zachter. Mel, good to have you. I was fortunate enough to see Mel earlier today in Staten Island, looking as young as ever, 16 lines from the bottom of Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph, 16 lines from the bottom of Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. Shimon, it's good to see you as well. And Rava says, no, here there isn't even a Gilui Milsa, because Rabbi Yirmiyah Beira, the son-in-law of Rabbi Yirmiyah Beira, that was running after them, maybe he was running after saying, write it already, so that I can get Rabbi Yehuda off my back. So it's not a clear indication. V'rava hayde karad basrayu, that which he's running after them, da'amalu ashur, be strong, hovolei hai, give it to her quickly already. Kiecha de mishlam tzara do gavra, that I can get Rabbi Yehuda off my back. Again, the Gemara brings another proof to Abaya. Abaya says another proof why he says that Gilui Milsa is not enough. A mere deduction that he wants to be Mavatal is not enough. V'amar Abaya mina aminola. How do I know this? Dahu da'amalahu. He said, the husband said to them, Iloya sina atloisim yomim lihave gita. If I don't come back within a month, this should be a get. Also, he came back on the last day, but a poske mabra, we just had this. The ferry was on the other side, and therefore he couldn't cross, and he couldn't get there in time. So Amalhu, he was yelling, Chazuda asoi, see I've arrived, see I've arrived. And we say that that's not true, he didn't arrive. Amashmol, lo yishmei masya. He didn't arrive, he didn't get to the other side. Says the Gemara, so Abaye says, but you see that indication is not enough, because indication is enough. The fact that he's yelling, doesn't that indicate that he wants to be mevatel the get? The Rava says no. He never said I'm being mevatel the get. He's just saying that the condition isn't met. The Rava ata hasam levitule gita boy. Was he saying that he wants to be mevatel the get? Hasam lekiyume tanoi kabay. He wants to say, look, the condition is met. I was back within 30 days. I just was blocked. And the condition wasn't met. Now, moving right along over here, 7 lines from the bottom of Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. Missing a lot of people tonight. Rabbi Kranz is not with us tonight, and Shalom Fogel is not. You know what it is? It's all these people celebrating Juneteenth. You didn't know that, right? You didn't know people Juneteenth. Any reason? I'm surprised. I'm surprised Marshall is here on Juneteenth. Yeah, I know. Marshall said clean teeth. What do you say? Juneteenth. Yeah.
Yep.
Where is Mark Frankel again?
He's celebrating Juneteenth too.
All right. Anyway, it's more likely that he's out buying a slave. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Ahu da'amalahu. A husband said to them, Eloyina sivna atlas in yom. And he's already engaged. Now, a man that's already in Arus can give a get. So he says, look, if I don't come through with the wedding in 30 days, lahave gita, let it be a get. So kamatu tlas in yom, when the 30 days were up, Amalahu, he said to them, "Hatarchana, I was busy. That's why I was busy with putting it together. She wants to have a 50-piece band, and she wants to have musicians on the chassan sides and jugglers on the women's side. She wants to have everybody should have a shas on their table. She wants a lot of things. So I'm busy today. Today's weddings. You have to work a lifetime to make a wedding for 6 hours, right? So he says I was busy. Says the Gemara, the get goes through. L'may nechish. Imishimon saw that he was an einus, why he wasn't kind of tonight. It wasn't possible for him to get it ready. All the different things he had to fly in green roses from Ireland. It was all kinds of things. Ein einus begetten. We don't accept an einus. Even if it's an einus, if the Tanai isn't fulfilled, it's a good get. And imishim gilui daita, and if because he's indicating that he doesn't want to get, he didn't indicate that he doesn't want to get. He just said, and imishim gilui daita, and if it's because indication, we paskin like a baya. Begita plukta the baya v'rava, and we say that we pass like a bayit, an indication is not enough to be a good get. Some gesund. Hahu da amalu ilay nasivna l'reish yarcha da other. If I don't marry you by Reish Chodesh other, on Reish Chodesh, it's good to learn about Reish Chodesh. So he says, if I don't marry you by Reish Chodesh other, they're already engaged. If I don't marry you by Reish Chodesh Adar and consummate the chuppah, lahavigita. Kimota Reish Yachad Yad Adar, when Reish Chodesh Adar arrived, he said, I thought I said Reish Chodesh Nisan. Amalu anol Reish Yachad Nisan Imrei. I thought it was Reish Chodesh Nisan. So the Gemara says the get goes through. What would be the reason not? L'may nechishla imishum einus. He made a mistake. He got mixed up. It's not his fault. An einus is not an excuse by a Tanai. Ein einus begitten. Imishim gilui daita, and if it's but he's still showing us that he doesn't want to get, it's not enough. Plukta dabaya v'rava, it's machlokes abaya and rava, and we paskin like abaya that gilui daita begita is not good enough. He has to be mavatal it outright. Now the Gemara wraps up summation time. B'hilchasa kenachman. The halacha is like Rav Nachman, that we paskin that even though Rabbi Gamliel said that if the husband is mavatal the get that he gave to Marshall in front of a bezdin, it's not good. But in betule batle, if he is mavatal, it is batal. The ilchasa kenachman, and the halacha is like Rav Nachman, that you could be mavatal one shliach not in the presence of the other shliach. And the hilchasa kenachmeni, this is a baya who was brought up by Rabba bar Nachmeni. The hilchasa kenachmeni, that gilui das beget is not enough. You have to be mavatal the get outright. Okay. There's enough time now to say good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everybody. Nice to have everybody. How is the weather where you are, Baruch? Far, far away. Huh? I just want to know, is it nice weather over there in Lakewood? No, it's very hard because he's very far away. And sometimes they don't know the directions to do Two Valley Stream. You should use your navigator. Yes, Berish.
That first case where he forced the get upon him.
Right.
I don't understand. Isn't that Gali Daite? I mean, why does it?
No, because he agreed that he agreed to give it. He said right something. You see, the idea we're going to have later on, the Gemara talks about kaifin oisayat sheyotzer riyayim reitzatni. We say that a person really wants to do the right thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you know the story.
I know the terrace.
Okay.
So that's we leap ahead to that terrace.
That's correct. Marshall is back at the stove. Okay. Marshall, can you try to keep your head in the Gemara?
Doing dishes, not stove. I am. I'm supposed to be delivering this Gittin, and she don't want it, and then this, and then that, and I don't know. I give up.
Okay, that's a pretty good summation of, I don't know what, but all right. Now, Zok the Heilige Gemara, it is Heilig, nonetheless, even though Marshall is trying to downplay it. The Berishayna Hayamishana Shmai Ushma Shem Irai V'Shem Ira. Initially, if a person moved from Budapest to America, and in Budapest the name was Agi, and over here the name is Matilda, so they would only put in the name in America of Matilda. And if they called the city a different name in one place or the other place, so they would use the name of the place where they were. However, this led to all kinds of problems, because people that saw it says that Matilda would be divorced, they would say, she's not Matilda, she's Maggie. So Hiskin Reb Gamliel Azaken Shiekais of Ish Ploini B'Kol Shum Shieshlei. They wrote, Yankel, who was called in this new place, Jake, who was also called Jackie, Isha Plainis, Maggie, B'Kol Shum Shieshla, she's called Matilda, and Mac. Mibnei Tikkun Island. There shouldn't be a problem. Amr Reb Yehuda Shmuel, Sholchulei, Reb Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Sholchulei, they sent to him, Sholchulei b'nei Medina Sayam l'Rabbi Gamliel, the people from overseas sent to Rabbi Gamliel, B'nei Adam Habom Misham Lekan, people that come from Eretz Yisrael to overseas. Shmo Yosef, over there they're called Yosef, V'karin lo Yochanan, and by us they're called Yochanan. Or Yochanan, over there they were called Yochanan, V'karin lo Yosef. Heich Megarshin Neshaysem, which name should we use? Amar Reb Gamliel v'hiskin she'kaisvin ish ploini v'kol shum she'yeshlei, so and so and all other names, isha ploinis v'kol shum shem she'yeshla, mipnei tikkun olam. So, for example, on a get, it would say Miriam, Hamakuna Mary, Hamakuna Marcy, would say all the names that she was called by. Amar Rav Ashi says the only time you have to do this is v'hu is chazik b'trei shmei. That's only if you know that she had two names. You don't have to research to see if she has two names. It's only if she's known to have two names. She comes in and she says, yeah, they call me Sarah, but when I grew up they called me Suri, and in high school I was known as Sarah. So therefore they write Sarah, Hamakuna Suri, Hamakuna Sarah. Amalei Rav Abba said to Rav Ashi, Rabbi Mori v'Rabbi Elazar kaimei kavasi. They also hold like you. It's only if we know that she had other names. And Tani kavasi to Rav Ashi. We have a brisa like Rav Ashi. If he had two wives, achas b'Yehuda v'achas b'Gol, one in Yehuda, one in Gol. V'lo shnei shemes, and he had two names, echad b'Yehuda v'echad b'Gol. In Yehuda, he was known as Dov, and in Galil he was known as Beryl. V'girish es ishtay shebiyehuda b'shmai shebiyehuda, v'es ishtay shebegalil b'shmai shebegalil. And in Yehuda he wrote just Dov, and in Galil he just wrote Beryl. Eina megureshes. Ad shegirish es ishtay shebiyehuda b'shmai shebiyehuda b'shem de Galil imai, where they wrote Dov amakuna Beryl. Ves ishtay shebegalil b'shmai shebegalil b'shem de Yehuda and imai. And they wrote in Galil, Beryl, Amakuna Yehud, Amakuna Dov. Yotzel Amakam Achar. He went to another place, Vigirish Be'echon Mehem, and he only used one name, Megareshes. Says, well, what? We said he has to have both names. Va'amrit Shem de Galilimai. Elishmami Nohada is Chazik. In the place where they knew he had two names, they had to use both names. Hadalay is Chazik. If he was only known as Dov, then all they had to use is Dov, Shmamina. I better slow down, otherwise Marshall's going to want his money back. Look at this, Eddie Chazan is already on terra firma. I don't know, unbelievable. Eddie, how do you manage to be in one place and listen to the shir? Very hard, I see.
Eddie Chazan, the wandering Sardi.
Now, Hahida v'korla Miriam. Our name was Miriam, Upursa Sarah. But some people called her Sarah. Imre Nardoi, since you have to start off with the more popular name. Miriam v'kol shum sheyeshla, you say Miriam first, and then you say Hamakuna Sarah. V'loi Sarah v'kol shum sheyeshla, not Sarah Hamakuna Miriam, because the more popular name is Miriam. Now, we're going to go into a tangential discussion now about Tikkun Ha'olam. Ein almana nifras menichse yisayim. A widow can't collect from the property of the orphans. The widow, when she wants to claim her ksuva, so she could only collect from the estate of the orphans, ela b'shvua. She has to swear that the husband didn't already pay her or didn't give her a partial payment. However, nimnu milashbia, since the punishment for making an oath, a false oath, is so devastating, ki lo yinake, will never be cleansed. It's so devastating, they refrained from putting her to an oath, and she didn't get her money. So here's Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel enacted an alternate that wasn't so serious. Here's Rabbi Gamliel azaken shetei noideres liyasaimim. She would take a vow to the orphans, kol mashe yirtzu, on anything they wanted. A vow is less serious. We learned in Masechtas Nadarim, a vow is when a person says that kikir zeh like kikarbon, and it's less serious than a shvuah. So the Yisayimim were able to pick, that they know she likes Belgian chocolate. So they say that she should vow that she'll never eat Belgian chocolate if she took, not never eat, that would be a shvuah, she would say, Belgian chocolate are like kikarbon if I took any payment from my husband. The guy v'ksuvasa, and then she collected her ksuva. Now remember, according to Rabbi Lazar, you don't need witnesses on the get because it's the Eidei Mesira Karsei. It's the witnesses of delivery that are critical. However, Ha'edim Chaismin ala get, witnesses sign on a get for the betterment of the world. Because if they don't sign on the get, and then the Eidei Mesira die, and the husband says that he never divorced her, there would be no way for her to prove it. It would be a he says, she says. This way, if they sign on the get, so then even if they die, but we can get people to verify the signatures. Normally, the din is that if Marshall borrows money from Irving, a cool million, so Marshall is clever, he waits for Shemitah, and then he says, He says to Irving, I'd really want to pay you, but it's not allowed. And he comes, usually he puts on payas for that, and it comes very from. And he says, I'd really like to pay you. And then Irving says, he calls his bluff. He says, I got a prosbol. And Marshall faints, right? Got a prosbol. What's the mechanics of a prosbol? The mechanics of a prosbol, and here is Aaron Swade catching the last part of the daf. Aaron, it's great to have you. Aaron Ben Sora, we're learning for you, rooting for you tomorrow. You're looking pretty good, Aaron. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that Novi Shir must put you in a really good mood. That's what it is. Aaron's oxygen is Torah. That's like Rabbi Kiva says. When Papa said to him, why did you teach Torah? It's a death sentence. So he says, you ask a fish, why does he go into water? Fish out of water is dead. He says, without a Torah, we're dead. So, that's our action. Nothing stops Aaron. Nothing like being in the hospital. That doesn't stop Aaron from learning Torah. Bravo. The only reason why he's not here is because he's at a different year. Marshall might be at a hockey game, but not Aaron. Aaron, if he's not here, don't laugh. It's not funny. Don't laugh. There's some Talmidim we could learn from, and some Talmidim we.
I aim to set a great example for everybody.
Yeah. Now, anyway, he. You know why he said great? Because it rhymes with Gretzky. I know what he's trying to do, but anyway, if you play like Gretzky, you could miss the share. Support a bunch of Kailim. Anyway, so the mechanics of a prosbol is the Torah says, lo yigos, you're not allowed to approach the debtor. But if you write a prosbol, it means you gave it over already to Bezdin. And therefore you don't have to do any approaching because it's already in the hands of Bezdin. And therefore, that's why the prosbol makes it that the loan should not be lost. And Hillel enacted such a prosbol because otherwise people stop giving loans, and the loans, as we said, is the grease that makes business possible. Shaloi tinol delis bifnei halavin. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm almost embarrassed to stop here, but don't worry, there's Mishnah Yomis, and we do start tonight, believe it or not, we do start tonight the last perek of Yuma.